The process has to be inclusive. We stand by the principle of full inclusivity in peace process negotiations and discussions. And frankly, Sinn Féin can send to the meeting whoever they want in the same way every other party can. They tried to pretend this is about Stormont representatives. Well, I don't sit in Stormont. I'm in Westminster. So's Jeffrey Donaldson, and we were both invited. This is another cock-up because they don't understand the place and they don't have anybody in there advising them on these issues. I don't think it's about personality. I think it's about a lack of understanding that we have three-stranded approach. Sinn Féin are an all-Ireland party. They're entitled to be that. They can choose their own leader. I'm no fan of Sinn Féin's, but it's up to them who they send to any negotiations, and we're just not going to have the British government telling us who we can send to meetings. And I think that's a principle that all parties should stand behind, because the minute this happens, then it'll be somebody else next. And it's important, I think, that the British government begin to understand that we're hopefully moving towards a bit of a resolution between the British government and the European Union. That this should have been part of a positive enough discussion today, but they've blown it again, and they've left us with no option. I don't think it makes any impact really on the negotiations between the UK government and the European Commission, but it's just another example how this British government think they can go it alone and do their own thing, whether it's on legacy or Brexit or whatever else. I didn't know what was happening until I got a phone call from Michelle O'Neill to tell me, and then we made our own decision, because I just fundamentally believe that any time in the history of the peace process that we've tried to exclude people, things go badly. We've had to stand in very difficult times, and more difficult times than this, by the principle of inclusivity. And the idea that we're going to tell any political party, whether it's Sinn Féin, the DUP or anybody else, who they consent to a meeting. Yeah, but this isn't Scotland. We've had, or Wales. We've had a Good Friday Agreement. We have three sets of relationships with North-South institutions. I mean, we're well beyond the time when any British government gets to tell anybody that just because their leader is from a different part of the island of Ireland that they can't go to a meeting. I mean, I have been in countless meetings where Mary Lou McDonald has led for Sinn Féin, or Jerry Adams before led for Sinn Féin when he was a TD in Louth. You don't hear me on here very often defending Sinn Féin. It's not about that. It's about the principle of inclusivity in the peace process. And the minute we give up one part of that, it'll be something else next. So I just don't trust this British government. Well, first of all, I think we need to move on. I think we need to get to a point where we are discussing how we get an assembly up and running and an executive up and running. We have a proposal today about how to change the mechanism for electing a speaker so that we can take away that veto from the DUP, so we have at least an assembly and committees and everything else. But then it's up to the DUP to respond to whatever deal's coming from the British government, so we can actually have a government, given the fact that our health service is absolutely crippled at the moment and we don't have government. So, I mean, that's the priority. That has to be the priority. The British government today have created an unnecessary distraction from all of that and put us and others in a very difficult position where we had to respond. And it's just pointless and ham-fisted and typical, really, of this latest edition of the British government.